Hi guys, LordUg here, and welcome to an epic rap battles of history. I think everybody does that and does it terribly. Anyway, as you can see, Jack the Ripper versus Hannibal Lecter. Now, I do know more about Jack the Ripper, kind of decent knowledge on Jack the Ripper, not amazing, but not bad. Hannibal Lecter, I don't know as much. I do know basically what I've read, or bits I've read, or what was in the movie Silence of the Lambs. But either way, I'll cover it, and I have seen this. I've seen most of Dan Bull's stuff, so I've seen this, and I'll cover it best I can. Now remember, I won't lie or anything. If I don't like a line, I'll say it. If I don't like a rap, I'll say it. It just is what it is. We'll go from there. So let's go. Jack the Ripper. The actual costumes are really good. I mean, that's very much how they dressed in Victorian England in around 1800s. If you look, you can do a search. English fashion 1880s, sorry, and you'll see it's always like that, like a top hat, black, like a black suit with like a little shawl over your shoulders, kind of thing. Little cloak. Hannibal Lecter! Oi, mate, pass the liquor! I do like how this comes in. Oi, mate, pass the liquor. Jack the Ripper, Jack the Rapper, following you right before the dawn of Twitter. I do like that. Hannibal Lecter! Oi, mate, pass the liquor. It's Jack the Ripper, Jack the Rapper, following you way before the dawn of Twitter. Which is quite clever, of course, because following you, as in following people through the streets of Whitechapel in 1880s to kill them. And, of course, you follow people on Twitter, so very good. But this was right before the dawn of Twitter, so he's saying I was following people before Twitter even came out, before you could even follow people on Twitter. I was already there. That's the liquor. It's Jack the Ripper, Jack the Rapper, following you way before the... Although, it makes me laugh that it says right before the dawn of Twitter, which means the beginning of Twitter. And this was done in... And, of course, Jack the Ripper killed in 1880s. It was a long way before Twitter came out. It wasn't the dawn of Twitter, it was a long time before Twitter had been coming out, but still, it's funny from the rhyme scheme point of view. Liquor, it's Jack the Ripper, Jack the Rapper, following you way before the dawn of Twitter. I'm a human trigger warning through the night until the morning. When the light shined upon my crime, you find it sick, appalling, and infamous, notorious delinquent. There's little more gory a thing than living in Victorian England. This is horrorcore. Horrorcore, of course, is a style of music. It's like a hip hop kind of. It's got kind of hip-hop throwbacks there, but with a horror theme. So that's horrorcore. Delinquent, there's little more gory a thing than living in Victorian England. This is horrorcore. Beware if you're a common whore, or at late night you may find me knocking on your door. Not keen to leave until I'm knee-deep in blood and gore. Your grieving family on their knees, we've been scrubbing floors. If the police need a lead, they know what they're looking for. That's true. They don't know what they're looking for. They didn't know what they were looking for. Again, because... one problem was they all looked people dressed very much the same. They didn't have the individualism that we have nowadays, where you can wear what you want, and usually what you wear makes you stand out. If a crime's just been done and somebody describes you, you usually stand out. Now, back then, everybody wore very much similar clothing, so to be like, oh, what do you look like? Well, he wore a top hat and a suit, and it didn't really help much. So the police didn't actually know what they were looking for. Even family on their knees, we've been scrubbing floors. If the police need a lead, they know what they're looking for. My raps are like the way I eat my meat, bloody raw. He did actually take a body part or two away with him, Jack the Ripper. So, need a lead, they know what they're looking for. My raps are like the way I eat my meat, bloody raw. Jack, you're a classic, a megalomaniac. You haven't mentioned me once in your entire battle rap. I kind of felt like when he didn't mention him in his battle rap, I think it's because, I mean, this is only me, this is how I translated it, that, well, Hannibal Lecter isn't a real character, so, he was created. So I always thought that when Dan Bull was rapping as Jack the Ripper, he was kind of just telling him what he'd done, because at the end of the day, Hannibal Lecter wasn't real anyway. But I don't know, maybe it was just he was a megalomaniac and just decided he wanted to talk about himself only. You're a classic, a megalomaniac. You haven't mentioned me once in your entire battle rap. Pity your verse wasn't worth the trip in the jack. Quit jacking off on the track and put the lotion in the basket. I kind of like that, quit jacking off on the track. Of course, he's Jack the Ripper, so that's fun, that's clever. And
put the lotion in the basket. I believe, I don't know this one, this is me just kind of pulling it out of thin air. I believe that in the movie Silence of the Lambs, where the main killer was called Buffalo Bill, and that's why Jodie Foster went to see Hannibal Lecter, to see, I can't remember Jodie Foster's character's name, so I'm going to call her Jodie Foster. That's why Jodie Foster went to see Hannibal Lecter to get help catching the killer. His name was Buffalo Bill, and I think when he got a victim, it chuck them down a hole and then lower this lotion down of some kind, and they clean themselves, I don't know. And then he'd say, put the lotion in the basket. I think that's what that was for. I think.
Earth wasn't worth the trip in the jacket. Quit jacking off in the track and put the lotion in the basket. And catch what the illa serial killer can deliver. Rhymes finer than the county I would pair with your lip.
You see, that's basically what I think where Hannibal Lecter kind of mysticism came in, because he was like an upper class killer. You know, he'd Chianti and things like this, and he'd cut body parts out, cook them up and eat them, but he'd do it in like while listening to the finest music and sitting at the finest dining tables and cutlery that cost huge amounts of money. It was all finer things with him, and he'd sit there and eat basically body parts like that. And I don't know, for me, I don't care if it's somebody who, if somebody stabs somebody, whether they make a mess of it or whether they're precise with it, it doesn't really matter. This person's still dead. So I don't know. To me, I didn't find it any different. It was just, but he is clever, of course, like a psychiatrist, if I remember right. So he's got a good mind. But it just, to me, it was just like Hannibal Lecter was just somebody who killed people and ate them. It doesn't matter if you sit there eating with fine cutlery on at a nice table, or whether you're in a back alley just chewing on some flesh you've just cooked up or something. It's still the same kind of thing.
The thought of your putrid flesh makes me want to shiver. Your British body's covered in more piss than kitty litter.
I assume with that one, your British body's
covered... Thought of your putrid flesh makes me want to shiver. Your British...
Because your British body is covered in more piss than kitty litter. I'm not exactly sure what that were about. I don't quite... The only thing I have got with it is, I wonder if he was trying to kind of point towards the state of England in the Victorian times, because there were some, of course, it were terrible from sanitation wise and that kind of thing. So I think if that's what he meant, then I can understand it. Of course, there were some really high society people as well. It wasn't all piss in the streets and things like this. It was there was proper there was some very high society people who lived in amazing grandeur. So at the end of the day, I don't think that Jack the Ripper was somebody who just lived on the streets normally. So anyway, let's get back into it.
Body's covered in more piss than kitty litter. You stabbed women when they wouldn't give you attention.
Sorry, I'm pausing again, but I said I'd have to point things out. Let me just go back to that.
This body's covered in more piss than kitty litter.
You stabbed women when they wouldn't give you attention. I suppose I don't think that's true, simply because, he paid for it. They gave you attention, and that's what prostitutes do. You pay for it, they give you attention. They give you the attention you're looking for. That's the point to paying them. I mean, if he was trying to kill normal society women and they walked off and it took him a while to find a victim and that, then yeah, I can understand. But there was no... It wasn't hard to get attention from a prostitute. All you had to do was just walk up, flick them some money, and they'd go wherever you wanted to go and give you all the attention you wanted. So, again, that one, a bit off. I'm just saying, I'm not just picking on it because it's Hannibal Lecter. I'm just saying, that just doesn't make sense. Not from the style of victim he had, which was a style of victim where if you paid them, they gave you the attention you wanted anyway.
Makes me want to shiver. Your British body's covered in more piss than kitty litter. You stabbed women when they wouldn't give you attention, like a Penny Dreadful version of O.J. Simpson. But these days your nickname is all that's even known, and you didn't even come up with that shit on your...
That's actually not true, if I remember right. I don't know if they did that for just for rhyme's sake, but if I remember right, sit back, little bit of history coming. After I think it was the first murder, the police got a letter written in red ink, and it basically was called the Dear Boss letter, because it started Dear Boss, because it was generally, whoever sent it was just talking to the police in general, so it said Dear Boss, and he signed it Jack the Ripper, and he even said underneath that, hope you don't mind me giving my trade name, or something like that. And the police thought it was a hoax, because people did that just to try and get some attention. They'd write letters to police when some kind of murder was going off to try and get involved. So they thought it was a hoax and didn't say anything. And then after the second murder, I think it was the second murder, they got a postcard that was also signed Jack the Ripper. And they did like a calligraphy match-up and things like that and found it was the same hand. And also, in the postcard, he referred to something in the first murder that normal people could not have known. Only someone who was actually there, who would have actually been interacted with the body, could have known. So, then they took it serious. And what they did was they just printed it in newspaper to warn everybody of what was happening. And they just printed it as it came to them. So, of course, the name Jack the Ripper was signed on both the letter and the postcard. And so the media then took it up and started calling him Jack the Ripper. He actually had a couple of other names as well. The Whitechapel Murderer and one called Leather Apron. You'll have to read up to find out what the Leather Apron thing is. But that was the other one. So there was another one like that. But Jack the Ripper stuck. And he did sign the Dear Boss letter and the postcard Jack the Ripper. So where he's saying you didn't think that, come up with that on your own, I'm not quite sure why. Because the first time the police or anybody heard from him was the Dear Boss letter, and that was signed Jack the Ripper. So anyway.
But these days your nickname is all that's even known, and you didn't even come up with that shit on your own.
And again, your nickname is all that's known. It isn't. You type Jack the Ripper, you'll find page after page after page where exactly what he did. And yeah, if he's on about they don't know your past, but that's the price of not being caught. And that's the good thing. To know his past means he got caught. But if they just mean like they only know his name, they don't know what he did. No, this page after page of that's well documented what he did.
These days your nickname is all that's even known, and you didn't even come up with that shit on your own. I'm real.
And of course that's a kicking gonads right there, just saying I'm real. And that's it. Now I know I have said before I try not to kind of separate the real against. Because like I said, with the Darth Vader and Adolf Hitler raps, I weren't going to hold it against Vader because he didn't exist and he was created, and that Hitler was real. I wasn't going to hold that against them. And I'm trying not to here, but it's true. I mean, who would you rather have after you at the end of the day? Would you rather have Jack the Ripper, who can actually pick up a knife and kill you, or would you rather have Hannibal Lecter, who basically is a book that can hit you? It's a book that can attack you basically, because he's not real. He doesn't exist. So in that respect, there is a point to score there. But the reason, even though Vader wasn't real, he beat Hitler was because he just annihilated him in that last rap. He destroyed him. So it wouldn't have mattered how many points I gave to Hitler. Vader would still have won. But in this, how he points it out, it is part of it.
Is all that's even known, and you didn't even come up with that shit on your own. I'm real. You'll find me making vacancies in brothels, while you only exist inside the pages of a novel. You were kept for ages in the hovel, contained within a cage behind a locked door, while I never got caught.
And again, a good point. I mean, Hannibal Lecter, for all his smarts, he likes to keep pointing out, and he likes to point out how a psychiatrist and so clever, he got caught. He wasn't smart. Yeah, he might have escaped, but he wasn't smart enough not to get caught. And that's the thing. For all your smart, if you're going like, well, I've got massive IQ, and it's like, well, you weren't clever enough to not get caught. And no matter how you look at it, he was behind a cage. They knew who he were. They knew his history. He was identified. I mean, yeah, all right, that means that people can then fear that person more by knowing who they are. But also it means that they weren't clever enough to stay out, to get away. They got caught. I mean, that's a true point.
We're kept for ages in the hovel, contained within a cage behind a locked door, while I never got caught. So who's the superior serial killer, Dr. Lecter?
I love that switch up in flow there. So who's the superior serial killer, Dr. Lecter?
Age behind a locked door, well, I never got caught. So who's the superior serial killer, Dr. Lecter? I'm still wanted, you're forgotten. People these days are watching Dexter.
I watched Dexter. I don't know if you watched Dexter, but if you're into Dexter, I'm not going to tell you what happens, but I don't want to spoil it. But the ending is complete shit. The ending stinks. It's terrible. It's one of those crap endings that you think, I wish I'd not watched that. I wish I'd just left it. I wish I'd not watched the ending, because it was terrible. It really were.
Be a serial killer, Dr. Lecter. I'm still wanted, you're forgotten. People these days are watching Dexter. So God protect you from the hell I spread upon us. I'm terrorising London. Fuck the 7-7.
7-7 bombers just, terrorised London, and he's just saying, fuck them. I'm doing a better job at terrorising London. It's not a bad link, I suppose. It's something. I'm sure there were other rhymes that they could have come up with, because it don't really link to Jack the Ripper. 7-7 bombers don't really link to him, except it was all done in London.
So God protect you from the hell I spread upon us. I'm terrorising London. Fuck the 7-7 bombers.
No, Jack, you are doing fine. Before your ham-fisted attempt at a terrorist.
I think they just wanted to set the start of this Lecter's wrap up to be able to, say that you were doing fine, terrorist line, etc.
How typical of Jack the Ripper to chase a headline.
Oh, I like that. How typical of Jack the Ripper to chase a headline. I like that flow. That was really nice.
Fisted attempt at a terrorist line.
How typical of Jack the Ripper to chase a headline.
Pick Ray Liotta's brain.
Ask him how I get mine. I'm the boom of violence, a licensed psychiatrist.
See, a licensed psychiatrist, so he points that out. But again, I have to look at it like, yeah, but you got caught. So, yeah, excellent brain.
Ray Liotta's brain. Ask him how I get mine. I'm the boom of violence, a licensed psychiatrist. 2 times in highest society to the sound of violence.
He points that out a lot. Oh, I dine on high society. I eat in high society while listening to violins, or while at fine dining establishments and all this. And it's like, that doesn't make it doesn't change the fact you're just a killer who eats body parts of people, and that's it. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter whether you do it to violins or people screaming. It's still a body part, and you're still consuming it. It's just the setting that makes it different, and it plays on that as if it makes him even better. Whereas it's like, oh, I've dined in rich places. Yeah, but it's still a body part. Still same.
Don't get me wrong, I'd roast a psychiatrist 2 times in highest society to the sound of violence. Don't get me wrong, I'd roast both your balls and my hibachi. But for a serial killer, you're as tasteless as a bowl of kashi. You prey on a prostitute and play with her body. I don't mind that you're naughty, Jack. I hate that you're sloppy.
But that's the difference. It doesn't matter, does it? It's the case of who's a serial killer, whether you're sloppy or precise. A dead body's a dead body. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. Missile makes a mess, but it still kills many people. It doesn't make a difference. So, I don't think it matters whether you're precise or whether you're messy. The point is that you kill. That's it.
And a prostitute and play with her body. I don't mind that you're naughty, Jack. I hate that you're sloppy.
So I just want to pick on play with body a bit. He did. I suppose in a way he didn't. He didn't. I think the ones he killed on the streets he kind of did quickly, because it could never be sure if somebody may come along and disturb him. But with the 5th victim, Mary Jane Kelly, she actually took him back to, I think it was her place, her house. So he had and she lived alone. So he had literally all night just to do what he wanted to do. And she was by far the worst mutilated, by far. You couldn't even tell what she looked like anymore. So he made such a mess of her. And so yeah, I suppose in that respect he did play with the body in that respect. So.
Barney, take me back to solitary body. I don't mind that you're naughty, Jack. I hate that you're sloppy. Barney, take me back to solitary confinement. Cause this dirty little lamb has just been silenced. Oh,
yeah! Again, it was. I enjoyed it. It was a great rap, and they both did good points, and they both did nice flow switches and that, which were nice. And the rhyme schemes were fine. They always are. We ERB superior, because that's what they do. Epic Lloyd did great as Hannibal Lecter. I do like him, I really do. And Dan Bull performed well, great. So, but I would give it to Jack the Ripper, just simply not because he was real and it's a Vader, not because Jack the Ripper were real and Hannibal Lecter wasn't. But I mean, it's like they were just little things. Like you didn't come up with that. nickname on his own, when actually the letters were signed Jack the Ripper. And also, if you think about it, neither did Hannibal Lecter. Hannibal Lecter was created by Thomas Harris. He was the person who created the character Hannibal Lecter. So Hannibal Lecter saying, you didn't think of your nickname, but in a way Hannibal Lecter didn't think of anything. His name, his backstory, his his lore, his everything, his description, everything. It was created by Thomas Harris. So nothing about Hannibal Lecter was ever thought of by Hannibal Lecter, because it was all created by the author. Whereas with Jack the Ripper, he actually did sign those letters, Jack the Ripper. You can check for them, just look for Dear Boss Letter, and you can see that, he did. So I don't know where that bit came from, but things like that made me kind of mark Hannibal Lecter down, if you know what I mean. So yeah, Jack the Ripper won that one. We're done. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this, then please give it a like. And if you wish to suggest anything in the comments, you can write it in there or send a link to a YouTube video and I'll check it out. You can also get in touch with me by email. The information's in the description for that, and my Twitter's in there too. And if you really, really, really wish to, you can click the subscribe button and the bell that I always forget to tell people about normally. So you can do that as well. That'll tell you if I do any more things. Yeah. So anyway, thanks for watching. You take care and goodbye for now, my friends.